Here, there's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. And Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds. Guys, these are diamonds. They're just grown in a laboratory, which speeds up the process. At Robert Hack Diamonds, you can get a 1-carat diamond for under $600. And 2-carat diamonds, many of which go for under $1,000. Manufacturer prices are dropping fast. And Robert Hack Diamonds wants to help you save money while also giving you a great product. Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. Stop in today. Robert Hack in Greenfield on Layton Avenue or Brookfield on Greenfield Avenue. And shop their whole lab-grown diamond and jewelry selection at roberthackdiamonds.com. Remember, great product, great price. roberthackdiamonds.com.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The game is over.
Harvin holds it, and Boswell nails it. 23-19.
And it's the day after.
All around the goal line.
Look at him guarding the goal line, and then you better block 90 and 56.
One last chance for the Packers. Love throws, end zone, intercepted, and it's over.
Let's react to the game and look ahead.
Obviously very disappointed. I thought our guys competed and battled hard, but there are no more victories in this league.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews. Here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Sportsbook Football Monday. It's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson on a Monday. We were with you on Tuesday from Rockin' Brews a week ago, back to our traditional day. Following a Packers game, unfortunately another Packers loss. Was there signs of growth? We'll talk about that on the program tonight. And if that just might be the measure of success for this Packers team the rest of the way. Jason Wilde will join us coming up about 6:30 tonight. And, of course, we'll take your calls and thoughts here on ESPN Wisconsin at 800-990-3776. We have been able to separate ourselves from the game, Gary. I want to know your top-line thoughts. My top-line thoughts consist of you're in the game, you have a chance, you have a second chance, you still can't get it done. Yes, there were some positive signs. Grand scheme of thing, you don't feel good about it because it's a loss, and there's still a hurdle to clear when you have a chance to win a game and close it out. That remains elusive here for the Packers, but you're 24 hours away from the game takeaways.
You know, I think if we step back and assess the situation, it's really all about Jordan Love, isn't it? I mean, I know Joe Barry's defense, I know special teams, but I think at the end of the day, it's about Jordan Love. It's about his growth. It's about, do you see any improvement in Jordan Love's game to move on with him or without him? I think that's what this whole big picture is. I don't know if it's about wins or losses. And if it is about wins and losses for you folks, you most certainly can call in and let us know. But I think it's about Jordan Love and how he looks and how he performs. So if I'm basing this whole thing off Jordan Love, I thought he took a step forward yesterday. Now,
what did you like the most? What jumped out off the page?
He makes some throws because last week, Greg, I don't know if you remember me standing up and says, can he just overthrow somebody?
That happened. I thought of you.
And it happened. Just one time. Can he overthrow somebody? He did that. Not only did he do that, Greg, you were talking here maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, passes over 15 yards in the air. I think you had some sort of stat a couple weeks ago or something like that. I can't necessarily remember. But you had a stat where he wasn't even throwing balls more than 15 yards in the air. He might have had 7 or 8 of those balls in this particular game. And 1 to Jaden Reed, obviously. Other 1 to Romeo Dobbs, both touchdown passes. Had 1 long pass at the end. I believe that was to Jaden Reed coming across the field. And then he had 1 in the middle of the field, I believe, to Dobbs, where he just sat down in the middle of the field and he just threw it to him. That play to me, the sit down in the middle of the field, do you remember this play?
It might have been Octavian Wicks.
No, I believe it was Dobbs.
Was it Dobbs? They both had that where they just kind of made a second reaction.
The middle of the field, right side. Nobody's around him. Looks like it was going to be an out route. There was a DB sitting over on the out, just sitting there. I think they're in zone. He's running like 15, 20 yards down the field. Nobody's covering him. They're kind of guarding their zone. And he just stopped. Turned around. Love hit him. That's off scripted to me. That's that stuff that when you're starting reading your receivers and they're open in a zone and they sit down, you have that same feeling that that's what he's going to do or that's what he should do. Now, he threw the balls a little bit underthrown, and I think Dobbs caught and started rolling on the ground with it. I believe that's what the play was. So to me, I took something out of that play. Now we're seeing a quarterback receiver on the same page without being the play that you call. I like that. So to me, it's about that. It's about Luke Musgrave down the middle. I think Luke Musgrave to me seems like a young colt or a giraffe maybe. Sometimes he just don't have his feet all together. He's still gangly. But once he gets everything going in the offense, I think he's going to be a really good target for Jordan Love down the middle.
What I think you're describing here is younger players being thrust into action and also being asked to perform. So as we judge Jordan Love, and if he is the guy or not, we're also seeing by extension some of the maturation from younger players because 55% completion percentage, that's not going to work in today's NFL. But if you look at it from a play-to-play basis, how much of that is on the receiver, how much of that is on the quarterback. So we were kind of in a gray space trying to figure out if Jordan Love was going to be the guy. I agree with you. This season is all about the Packers figuring out if they have the guy or not. Because when you go into draft season and you have what could be a top 10 pick along with 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks, the big question is going to be, do you take a quarterback? Do you make sure you're in that top 5 to get one of the guys you need to take this franchise to the next level? C.J. Stroud's doing it in Houston, but Bryce Young's off to a slow start, the number 1 pick in Carolina. So there will always be pressure and expectations on the quarterback. I am all about trying to figure out if Jordan Love's steps are in the right direction. We talked about the ladder yesterday, or the mountain.
Yes.
A week ago, we said you're going to go up the mountain. You're going to reach that peak. But along the way, going up the mountain, you're going to plateau. Yes. You might even go downhill a little bit. That is to say, you're going to have some bad moments mixed in with the good. But at the end of the year, that good needs to outweigh the bad. So you could point to an interception in the end zone and one at the goal line as part of the bad. That didn't work out well. Though that final pass, Love was under pressure. Steelers had 5 guys at the goal line. That's not an easy situation to get yourself out of. But I will go back to what you talked about in the beginning of your statement. And that is the growth of Jordan Love. So Pro Football Focus does a deep dive into everybody. Fair or unfair, whether you like it or not, they do a deep dive into everybody. Jordan Love, deep passing in weeks 9 and 10, minimum 10 attempts. He has 11 attempts and 7 completions. His 7 completions, 3rd out of 21 quarterbacks. His completion percentage, 63.5%. That's better than his season-long completion percentage by a pretty hefty margin. Yards, 230 on those throws and completions, 3rd best out of 21 quarterbacks. Turnover-worthy plays, 0, which equates to a quarterback rating of 137.5. You might say, Greg, what about that interception in the end zone that Patrick Peterson knocked the ball? Was that not a turnover-worthy play? I might argue yes. Pro Football Focus doesn't look at it that way. They instead give points to the defender for making a great play. So the biggest hindrance in Love's play, weeks 1 through 7, has sort of taken another level in the last couple of weeks. That, to me, is a sign of growth. Is it not?
You know what? I love you. And here's why I love you. Because I love when you can get some numbers and then back up what I say because I don't have any numbers.
I got your back.
I like that, buddy. It is. And sometimes it's not always about numbers because I'm a kind of what you see kind of guy. But it's good when you can get the numbers to back up what you're saying because there's a lot of guys that are really all about numbers and not about perception or what your eyes are telling you that's what's really going on. For me, with Jordan Love, I think those numbers will continue to rise as we go through the season, only because, and we'll get into this, only because I think what's going to happen is he's going to figure out who his go-to guy really is. I don't know if Jordan Love knows that. I think he knows who it was, but I think it's moving to someone else. And that will decrease his interceptions. That
someone else might be Jaden Reed. We'll talk about him a little more. So yesterday alone, 5 out of 8 on deep passing. So we're 10 air yards or more on the pass. 5 of 8, 62.5% completion rate, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception, credited with 4 big-time throws, 0 turnover-worthy plays. Again, I'll listen to the argument about the interception in the end zone.
Right.
It was a great play. If I'm being nitpicky, maybe slightly underthrown, that Peterson could get his hands up for it. That is debatable. Pro Football Focus does not recognize it as a turnover-worthy play. Here's the play I love the most. When we talk about growth, it's about making a mistake one week and then not making that same mistake the next week when presented with a similar opportunity.
Yeah, you said that last week here.
So here was the mistake that was made against the Denver Broncos. You're trying to fight yourself back. You're trying to get back into the game. Can you get points on the board? That game is ready for you to take. And the Packers get into Broncos territory, and then they go backwards, right? Something they've done a little too much of this year. So now you're faced with like a 3rd and forever. You got to figure this out. 4-down territory. And on that 3rd and forever, A.J. Dillon leaks out of the backfield, right, to Jordan Love's left. And he says, you know what? I'm going to chuck it up into double coverage. And Samari Turi's down there, our 7th-round draft pick from a year ago. We'll see, right? Now, if he comes down with it, man, that's going to be an incredible play, and we're going to win this game.
Yes.
Instead of taking the yards and maybe making a 4th and manageable with time on the clock, he chucked it up into double coverage, and that was not the smart play.
It was an interception.
So yesterday, final drive. It's not 4th and forever. You're just fighting to get into the range of getting a touchdown on one of your final plays of the game. And it's a 3rd down play. And here we go. We need yards. A.J. Dillon leaks out of the backfield again. Love's looking. Can't find what he wants. He gets it to Dillon for 11 yards. And they get down to the 16-yard line. They got to hustle now. They got to hustle up, spike the ball. And they gave themselves a shot with 3 seconds left from the 16-yard line to get it into the end zone. It didn't work out, but he made the smart play in that situation.
Didn't look like the same play?
It was similar. I think Dillon was maybe on a different side of the field, but similar,
I think
right?
Dillon was on the left side. He was on the left side when he caught this. It looked identical as the same play. And, Greg, you're absolutely right. 2 things happens in that game. That is one play that absolutely worked, and the overthrown pass that we've been asking him to do, he finally did it. Because I think at the end of the day, when you start looking at Christian Watson and start figuring out what kind of receiver he is, he may be the guy that you have to overthrow the football to all the time. He may not be a possession guy. He may not be a 50-50 ball catcher. But what he is a speed guy who can get on the outside, double moves, go routes, let him have it. That's what he is right now. Can he turn into all these other things I just said? Maybe. But now they will be Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, have to figure out a role for Christian Watson and let him excel at what he does best. I absolutely love what you just said now about that play with A.J. Dillon, because that is exactly what happened against Denver, and he chose not to and had a pick at the end of the game. Exact same play to me.
He's made some special throws this year. The touchdown pass yesterday to Jaden Reed, that's a special throw. Both touchdowns were special throws, in my opinion. Hitting Dontavian Wicks on one of the final drives across the middle. He settled into the zone.
Yep.
That's rookie with first-year starter. Showing a little chemistry. Yep. I like that.
That was on the left side, yes.
But it's the understanding that not every throw has to be special. That's going to take his game to another level.
Correct.
Right? Sometimes you just need to get what you can get and live to fight another down. So yesterday, to me, was a sign that he's progressing in that light because he can make the special. We've seen a little bit of that.
Now, does everybody agree with you and I?
I don't know. Let's figure it out. I mean, is this what it's all about? Is incremental steps, growth, figuring out if he's the guy? Or do you look at yesterday and say, Greg, here, you guys are nuts. They lost the game. Move on. They're an awful team, and there's nothing to be excited about here. You tell us, man. Maybe I'm wrong. 800-990-3776 if you'd like to join us. It's 800-990-3776. Greg and Gary with you until 8 o'clock tonight. Jason Wilde will join us coming up at about 6:30. And coming up next, our best electrifying play of the first half. We've got that for you coming up after this. Is it a season more about growth than wins? More after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
The all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel has something you gotta see. Play more slots and games, and you could say, "Show me the money," to reveal up to 10 grand each Thursday. 800,000 in prizes is up for grabs. 40 winners each week. This October and November at Potawatomi, Milwaukee. When you're ready to win, just say, "Show me the money." More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats. Now through Wednesday, save on 6 to 8 ounce selected variety Sargento shredded cheese, 2 for $6. 2 ounce McCormick Pure Vanilla, $4.99. 12.5 to 22 ounce selected varieties Rana pasta or sauce, $5.99. 7 to 8 ounce selected varieties Green Giant Simply Steamed Vegetables, 5 for $5.
Look at those brats. You do tailgating right. Absolutely. Did you see the spread out there? You've got enough food to feed the entire lot. I'm splurging now and then hoping to win $700 in free groceries. $700? Yeah, it's all part of the 70th anniversary at Century Foods. No kidding. Next week, I'll do the shopping. Maybe I'll score $700 in groceries. All you need is the weekly code. It's on Century's Facebook or Instagram. Oh, I just remembered. I'll be out of town next week. Yeah, right, cheapskate.
Ends January 3rd.
Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Brewmate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
Check out our brand new Hyundai dealership, one of the largest in the Midwest.
Step inside of our state-of-the-art showroom where you can view our new Hyundai models and some of our finest certified pre-owned.
We've also expanded our service center, staffed by our factory-certified technicians.
And right next door, we've started construction on our all-new Genesis of Waukesha dealership.
But we're not just building walls, we're building careers.
So if you're looking for a career with great benefits and opportunity for growth, Boucher is the place for you.
At Boucher, we ride with you every mile.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
He put us in position to win the game. We had an opportunity there. I thought, when we checked the ball down to Aaron Jones, I thought there was an opportunity to get out of bounds right there, and we didn't. And that was critical because that wasted a ton of time. And we would have had a couple opportunities at the end of the game. It was like 20 seconds or so. It felt like forever. He was trying to get us in a position where we were going to have one of the receivers chip the edge. That took too long. Just the whole operation there was not good enough. But I did think he made a couple plays, a couple throws to put us in position to have a shot, at least take a shot at the end zone.
That's a very interesting comments from Matt LaFleur. You don't often hear him call out a player by
Almost
name
never.
in the post-game press conference, and he did that with Aaron Jones. Want to get into his day coming up a little later in the program. It was not a great day for Aaron Jones, maybe the most dynamic player on the Packers roster. Time for our best electrifying play of the game in the first half. It was Love to Reed for the touchdown on a beautiful pitch and catch.
Love pulls the trigger on a deep one. Caught! Touchdown! J.D. Reed on the grab. The Packers dial it up and cash in. 35-yard score.
Ian Eagle with the call, flick of the wrist. Flick of the wrist for our best electrifying play of the game. He made that throw look easy, Gary. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's what we've been looking for out of him. He's had some, but not on a consistent basis. And I think we saw at least 4 or 5 of those balls in this particular game. And I think the future, we don't know what it holds, but we like, myself, I like the steps that he has made so far. His next thing that they have to do is figure out how to win these close games, how to close the door. They're going to be in every ball game. Greg Vice said this over and over. I'm going to say it again. They're going to be in every ball game just like this for the rest of the year, outside of, let's say, maybe Detroit and Kansas City. I think those two teams are elite teams in the NFL. But other than that, all these other games they should be in. We can talk a little bit about the Chargers if you want, but the Chargers to me are a team that can put up 30, 40 points, or they can only put up 15 points. They're kind of an enigma kind of a team to me, but they have the talent to do it, so we'll see what happens when they get to Lambeau Field.
800-990-3776. Is this season more about growth or wins? It wasn't just Jordan Love yesterday. We talked about Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Dontanian Wicks. They combined to catch 10 passes for 199 yards and a touchdown yesterday. Right? That is big play potential being shown. Now, the name curiously left out of the list, really 2 names, Romeo Doubs, who's been, I would say, a little inconsistent this year, a little, and Christian Watson, who I can't figure him out, but I'm not willing to close the book on Christian Watson for a number of reasons. We'll get into that. Devontae Adams comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of a coming out party for an offense on the road in a challenging place to play. And we talked about the deep yard passes that were being thrown.
Yes.
That's not easy against Pittsburgh, by the way, because they have 2 of the best edge rushers in the game. That is clearly their strength. But the offensive line held up yesterday and gave Jordan Love some time. Not every play, but you go out and block T.J. Watt. Zach Tom did an amazing job yesterday, and Pro Football Focus thought he was one of the highest-rated players on the team. So, again, there are some growth steps here. But is that what this season is all about? Is it about those steps, that little bit of growth, those things that you look at and say, okay, we're coming here now? Because if you do come back and win that game, all of a sudden it's 2 wins in a row, and you're coming back home and you're thinking, this is starting to move in the right direction. So the loss could maybe cloud your judgment a little.
Yeah.
But if it's about growth, I think you saw some yesterday.
You did offensively, but you didn't defensively.
No.
And you didn't
That is
special.
true.
And you didn't special team.
Not special.
They weren't special at all. So I'm glad we're talking about Jordan Love to me because that's what it's about. But they're going to have to figure something out next year with this defense with Joe Barry. Now, granted, you're playing with Valentine and Ballantyne, okay, the Time brothers, and you're also, if you look at your safety positions, you're back there with Owens and who's the other
Rudy
safety?
Ford running around back there, right?
So you're not playing
Not
with
great.
your full complement of players on the back end. So which shouldn't really have anything to do with your front end. And that's what we've been getting gashed at right now. I think they've given up, maybe 200 yards rushing 3 times. And you're not going to be able to win games like that in the NFL. What that does to you, though, Greg, is also hurts your offense, which means that your offense is on the sideline a lot, which means that they don't get a chance to really get into a rhythm, which hurts your quarterback and what they're trying to do and your play caller. So, I don't know what time possession was, but it just felt like that they could run the ball and get chunk yardage in the run game anytime that they wanted. And that's not good.
It kind of reminded me, from a defensive standpoint, it reminded me of the Atlanta game, where you had an inferior quarterback, a quarterback you'd point at and say, make that dude beat you, right? Make Desmond Ridder beat you in the air. Make Kenny Pickett beat you in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Pickett had, 13 completions yesterday?
Right.
A very modest total.
Mm-hmm.
But the running backs got off and running, 205 yards. The Packers couldn't get it figured out. Chris Larson's producing the program. I want to jump to this cut. I was going to save it, but I think it's appropriate to bring it up. Matt LaFleur today was talking about certain plays where the Packers were set up with 2 down linemen, nickel coverage, in run situations, right? Because there's these screen grabs floating around on Twitter, right, where the Steelers are set up to run. It's just that kind of situation. Everything looks run. You're thinking run, and the Packers have 2 down linemen in front of them. And they got their linebackers kind of up out of their stands doing their thing. Chris, if we have the comment from Matt, I would love for you to play that right now.
I think Jason Wilde may have asked him this question.
It is baffling to me when people talk nickel defense and they talk about 2 down linemen, because I don't know what that means.
You've got 2 true down linemen. You've got 2 inside linebackers.
So outside linebackers, just so you know how us in this profession view outside linebackers, when you go to nickel defense, they're defensive ends.
Okay.
And we have some of the bigger outside linebackers in this league. So I think it's comical when I hear people talk about, they have 2 down linemen. I'm like, to me, people are exposing themselves when they say that. Like, there's 4 defensive linemen on the field. When we go out there, basically, when we play teams, 3-4 defense is not something new, right? That is our base defense. But when you go nickel defense, those outside linebackers become defensive ends. And the way we always judge it is, would you want a running back blocking that guy? Would you want a running back blocking Preston Smith? Would you want a running back blocking Rashawn Gary? The answer is usually no. So they are defensive linemen.
Okay, that might be the case. But there is also a tremendous amount of space for the running back to operate, because they look ahead of them. They see a second layer in the distance. They don't see a wall of green jerseys or white jerseys, as was the case on Sunday. They see space, and those 4 down linemen spaced out. Right? Isn't that a significant component to this?
So I think it's down in distance. So he's right when he says about his outside linebackers. They are defensive ends. They are big dudes. So just because they don't have their hands in the dirt doesn't mean that they can't be accounted for. So what we would be media guys, we see 2 guys with their hand in the dirt, we think it's a 2-man front. They see Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary played with his hands in the dirt at Michigan, used to it. Preston Smith can also play with his hands in the dirt as well. So does Lucas Van Ness. Is also another guy that plays with his hand in the dirt. But here's the issue. When I'm in offense, short yards and goal line, and I got my extra tight end in, my extra fullback in, my extra tackle in, we need to be in a heavy formation and not in that formation. So basically what he's saying, we're in a four-man front. I get it, but you're not heavy enough to do the short yards and goal line.
Yeah, not all four-man fronts are created equal,
no,
right?
So it's situational. It's situational. I understand what he's saying, but then when we're on the 5-yard line, we're not in that defense. If you want to play that defense out in the field, fine. Or if it's 3rd and 1, I don't want to be in that defense in 3rd and 1. Maybe it's a great defense for 3rd and 7, even if you know that's when we're out in the field. That's between the 20s. Even if you know there's a obvious passing situation, but for Pittsburgh, 2nd and 7 for them is an obvious run situation. We were still in that nickel package. I don't know if I have a problem with that, with the way he explained it, but I don't want to be in that in short yards and goal line. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely makes sense to me. Absolutely. See, y'all break things down so nicely.
Yeah.
And that's from a running back, right?
Yeah. Well, we had
but
to read
you know
defenses.
what you see,
yeah,
right?
We had to read defense.
If you're not
right,
Harris.
And he's right about running backs blocking linebackers. For example, we had to go to New York and we had to go play the New York Giants. Carl Banks on one side, Lawrence Taylor on the other side. And we said to the offensive lineman, wherever 56 is, that's where we're sliding the line to. The running back, go the opposite way. Gary, can you handle Carl Banks? Yes, I'd rather have Carl Banks than Lawrence Taylor. Let me have him. So that's what he means by running backs and matching up with the outside linebacker, because that's normally where they go.
You didn't want to block Lawrence Taylor?
No, I'm going to pass on that, Greg.
Was he one of those people that, even folks in the league like yourself looked at and said, man, there's just no
we need
chance.
We need Ken Ruckers over there. We need Carl Swanke. We need Greg Cook. Those guys, Ed West, Paul, those guys need to figure out how to handle 56. Same way I would say with T.J. Watt, right? Because he's that kind of a player for them. You don't want a running back handling him. You don't want, and this week it'll be Khalil Mack. You don't want a running back on Khalil Mack. And for us, it's obviously, he's right, Preston Smith. It's obviously Rashawn Gary. You don't want a running back matched up against those guys. You want an offensive tackle with those guys.
Jason Wilde, the asker of that question to Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, joins us coming up on the other side. Our Best Electrifying Play of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Best Electric.
Yes, guys, let me talk about my good friends over at Best Electric. Guys, it's time for me to tell you about Best Electric Service. They're a family-owned and operated company that has been in business for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, from residential, commercial, projects, and even electrical vehicle charging. Whole and partial home generators to protect your family this winter. Whole home surge protection systems to protect your electric appliances. Guys, check my good friends out today. Best Electric provides quality at fair prices. Connect with the best and visit bestelect.com.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews.
Adulting in the fall means responsible spiking. For pumpkin spice or whatever your preferred fall drink concoction is, spike it with rum chata. It's a solution for any occasion. Rum chata is the world's finest liqueur featuring premium Caribbean rum combined with vanilla, cinnamon, and the highest quality dairy cream sourced from Wisconsin. Enjoy a smooth shot or a tantalizing spiked beverage with Rum Chata Original. And, backed by popular demand for a limited time, Rum Chata Peppermint Bark. Rum Chata, the superior way to spike and sip responsibly this fall.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Brighten up your home, workplace, or event with flowers and trust Welke's Milwaukee Florist to be your local florist. Welke's is family-owned and has delivered beauty for customers and businesses for well over 100 years. Join Welke's Flower subscription so your home is always fresh, or discover the benefits of creating a corporate account and leave the work to them. Welke's Milwaukee Florist has locations in Elm Grove and at 56th and North in Milwaukee. Go to welkes.com, that's WELKES.com for more info and to place an order.
Get to and from every home game in Green Bay this football season safely. Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course all offer transportation on game days. They've got bus services with private restrooms and all-you-can-drink packages. Book your round-trip ride from any of these locations and get complimentary access to an all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate at the bar on Holmgren Way. Make your reservations now. There's still room for the November 19th game. Visit MilwaukeeBroadhouse.com to book your trip today and use code ESPN23 for 10% off.
Show the world what your business is made of with 3 Tree Marketing.
So at 3 Tree, we're storytellers through merchandise. Every brand we work with has a unique story, and we're there to tell it using merchandise, display, appreciation, and gifting.
President Kevin Van Rossum knows that's important.
There's promo peddlers again, or tchotchke vendors, or whatever cliche people want to use. So we work with our client partners to become an extension of their team. We provide ideas, unique offerings that fit budget, timing, as well as messaging.
Check out why 3 Tree is the partner you need. 3treemarketing.com.
Isn't this the best time of year? Wisconsin has the green and gold, Milwaukee Hoops, Wisconsin football, basketball, and volleyball. What more can Wisconsin sports fans ask for? As Wisconsin's 3PL, Evans Transportation knows that it takes a team effort to make things happen. And when it comes to manufacturers' accounting, shipping, and tracking needs, Evans is the supply chain team you're looking for. Good luck to all Wisconsin teams from Wisconsin's 3PL in Delafield. Find them at evanstrans.com. That's evanstrans.com.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
It's A.J. Dillon. Big gain for Dillon. And forced out of bounds by Keanu Neal. The Packers get what they were looking for, the tune of a 40-yard rip.
Longest run of the game for the Packers that helped set up a touchdown. Jordan Love to Jaden Reed, one of his best throws of the game and the season. Unfortunately, in a loss, Packers fall to the Steelers on the road. There are about 4 plays that really spelled doom for the Packers yesterday. Beyond the interceptions thrown by Jordan Love, we'll get into those plays coming up on the other side. And with our good friend Jason Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. He's got basketball practice until midnight tonight, but agreed to join us here at 6:30. Hello, Jason.
A little bit of a late tip time for practice. Certainly tough to get gym time sometimes. So, yeah, plenty of time for you guys at 6:30 for a change.
Jason, Gary and I were asking the question of our fans, if this season is all about growth or is it all about wins? And how do you How do you separate the two? If you're a win-at-all-costs kind of person versus a I see signs of progress person, this might be two different seasons developing in your eyes. I like to view it as a signs of growth sort of season like I did in 2008. If we're looking at it through that lens, did yesterday provide signs of growth for you, albeit in a loss?
Absolutely it did. And, Matt LaFleur can give the no moral victory speech all he wants, and it's true. You can't say yesterday was a moral victory, but let's just use different words, kind of like they do when it comes to saying that you're rebuilding. Well, they're not rebuilding. Well, we're retooling or reestablishing ourselves, or all the other bogus words they use instead of rebuilding. Well, all right, let's not call it a moral victory, but there's a ton of growth on offense. I'm really excited about how Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks are growing up right before our eyes. They're finding holes in zones, which other wide receivers, I think, aren't as adept at. There were certainly mistakes to grow from as well. But the most important thing is Jordan Love, Greg, as I was telling you on Wisconsin's Afternoon News, Matt LaFleur wanted him to let it rip. And we've talked on this show and all the other shows I appear on about how he just so often this season he's looked like he was unsure and uncertain, and he would make these throws that he wouldn't really step in and drive the ball into. He would or just throw it out there. And I thought yesterday he looked like a different guy in that respect. I really did. I thought he did what you want your quarterback to do, which is play with confidence and throw the football decisively. And even if he made the wrong decision, which, by the way, he did on the first interception to Watson. Now we can get into how Watson ran his route and why it turned out to be a catastrophic throw instead of just an incompletion or maybe even a touchdown. But he made some bad decisions. Nobody's going to say he didn't. The bottom line is, though, that he was more decisive even when he was wrong. And that's something that he was not during their 4-game losing streak. And quite frankly, not even enough in the Rams game. His statistics looked okay, but I didn't think he looked significantly better. I thought it was his best game of the season, including Chicago yesterday.
And obviously that Jason and I agree with one another on that, so that's no big secret.
We always do.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
But okay, so and this we should be talking about Jordan Love, because I think that's what it's all based around. Mm-hmm. But Jason, if they don't do anything about this defense, they're not going to win a lot of games. You just can't come in and line up and rush a team for over 200 yards against us. I think that may have happened to us probably another 2 times this year. And to me,
they're the only team in the league, Gary, that has allowed 200 yards rushing in 3 games of this season.
Oh my God!
Only defense in the league to allow that to happen.
So then, to me, which leads to my question, to me, then this hurts your offense because they're sitting on the sideline if these teams are just coming in and running the football. Now, I don't know what time of possession was for us and the Steelers, but still, you're just not going to get into a good flow if that other team is on the field rushing the football like they are.
Yeah, and look, here's part of what I didn't understand about yesterday, and that was Kenny Pickett is certainly not better than Jordan Love, right? I mean, he's in his second year. I know he started like 12 games last year, so he's got more experience in games, but he's not any good yet, and he may never be any good. I understand you were starting the law firm of Valentine and Ballantyne at corner, but how do you not make the quarterback beat you? Right? Like, how do you not say, look, we're not going to let these guys run the football against us, which is what they're going to want to do because they don't trust their quarterback. I mean, that was, to me anyway, fairly self-evident, and even Matt LaFleur admitted it. Like, Matt LaFleur flat out said after the game and again today, we knew they were going to run the ball. Okay, so if you know they're going to run the ball and they still go over 200 yards, they average 5.7 yards per carry, what the hell are you doing? Like, you knew what they were going to do and you couldn't stop it? Or you didn't put up – I'm not even saying you have to stop it, but you certainly have to put up more resistance. And on the 3 initial drives, the 2 touchdowns and the field goal that the Steelers get, they ran it right down your throat. And then it kind of looked like they'd figured it out. And then on that drive, when they got the field goal to make it 24-19, they ran the ball 4 consecutive times to start that drive. And they gained 41 yards on those 4 carries. Like, you knew they were going to run there, and you couldn't stop it. And that, I just think that's a bad look for your defense and a bad look for your defensive coordinator.
So we said the same thing, Jason, after the game against Atlanta. It's like I'm looking at Desmond Ridder saying, make that guy beat you. My God,
right?
not the number 8 pick in the draft, Bijan Robinson, and a 1,000-yard rusher in Tyler Algier. I'm saying the same thing yesterday. And Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are fine. They've had problems on the offensive line, I think, in Pittsburgh. But, gosh, make Kenny Pickett beat you. Kenny freaking Pickett. And they wouldn't. Now, I support your question, Jason, 100%. I thought Matt LaFleur's answer was slightly disrespectful, if I'm being honest, as I'm talking to Gary. When we see 2 down linemen and Matt LaFleur has to go out of his way to explain that his outside linebackers in a run situation are also to be considered down linemen, my argument, and Gary supports it, is that not every 4-man front is created equal. Like, that's not a heavy package. If I'm a running back, I see space and I see linebackers in the distance. I don't see a wall that I cannot run through. In fact, it looks inviting. So whether they call them down linemen or not as outside linebackers, there is still significant space at the point of attack for running backs to operate.
Yeah, and those guys, too, the 2 defensive ends that they were, or whatever the hell we're calling them. And look, it really didn't bother me. And I'm super sensitive. You guys know that. I'm as soft as they come. But this time, it didn't really bother me at all. I did know, as I said to Matt in response, I said, oh, boy, Tausch is going to have a field day with this tomorrow. And he will. But, because I think at one point he said that you're exposing yourself and you're, I can't remember what else he said. It was not a great moment. But it's fine because, this was kind of misdirection, right? Like, whatever you want to call those 2 outside linebackers is fine. But the bottom line is they're lined up really wide. And to use Greg's term, which I think is a good one, it's an inviting look to run the football against. There's no two ways about it. Yeah.
Well, not even that, Jason. If it's 3rd and 1, if it's 3rd and 3, I'm not in that defense. If it's short yards and goal line, I'm not in that defense, right? If it's between the 20s out in the field or something like that, and maybe if it's 3rd and 7, maybe I'll go to that. But they have been in that defense this year in goal line type situations, and that's not where you want to be. And so for him to say that, and I get what he's saying about his 2 outside backers, so they are relatively big, and both of those guys can play with their hand in the dirt. I get it, but that's not where you want to be if we're in 3rd and 3, or for Pittsburgh, if they were in 2nd and 7, that was a run down for them. They're not throwing the football at 2nd and 7.
Right. Yeah, and look, I as I said to somebody afterward, like, I'll be honest, I did not know back when they were using Clay Matthews and Frank Zombo and all those guys.
There you go.
I don't remember Dom calling those guys defensive ends when they were in nickel, but I definitely learned that from Mike Pettin, who called them defensive ends. So I've known that now. I didn't know it early, but I've known it since Pettin, which was 2018 was his first year as the defensive coordinator. And frankly, I prefer him. I think he's a better coach, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is they're not stopping the run, and if they could, they'd be in a better place. And they can't. They had the 2 games previous against the Vikings and the Rams where those 2 teams averaged 2.28 yards per carry. So you thought they'd kind of fix things, but they obviously did not. And yesterday, there were, like Greg said at the beginning of this, there were a handful of plays that were decisive, obviously, but that was death by not even paper cuts, because they were better cuts than that. But like, they had a 24-yard run, they had a 20-yard run, they had an 11-yard run. Like, they had some explosives mixed in with a lot of 4, 5, 6, 7-yard games.
Jason, I don't know if this is a positive or a negative, but the Packers were afforded two opportunities to go down and get a potentially game-winning score in the fourth quarter on a day Aaron Jones had a bad day. The positive is they were in a position to win the game. The negative is Aaron Jones had a bad day. Is there anything to draw from what you saw out of maybe the Packers' most dynamic playmaker?
Yeah, I still, I still can't get over the fact that someone as experienced as him didn't get out of bounds during that final drive. I have no explanation for it, and as we talked about, Greg, the fact that LaFleur was so pointed in his criticism of that decision when he's loath to publicly criticize his players speaks volumes to just how disappointed and surprised he was that a veteran player would make that mistake. Like, if that's Dontavion Wicks, if that's Jaden Reed, if that's Emmanuel Wilson, okay, rookie mistake. Veteran guy in that situation, has been in big games, has been in NFC championship games, has been in playoff games, has been on the field late in games where they need to go win the game with Aaron Rodgers. That's a mistake that's just mind-boggling from a guy like that.
Well, let me just get to the elephant in the room real quick, and that's going to have to be about Christian Watson and really his development or non-development so far in his offense, because it feels like
Is his dad there eating bread pudding?
He might be on Rockin' Brews.
I don't want him to be mad at me.
I don't see him, so that's good. But it feels like even Wicks and Reed, it feels like those guys right now have jumped in front of him. And I would say this, within the maturation of this offense, it feels like that Matt LaFleur, rightly so, was force-feeding a little bit of Watson in this offense to have more passes to be thrown to him or be more inclusive. I think maybe right now they probably have to figure out that maybe he's not that guy and try to move towards other guys that Jordan Love can be much more comfortable with.
I just think it's, and Gary, you played at one of the great universities in all the land, and it ain't North Dakota State, right? I mean,
and it's not Northwestern either.
Yeah, well, not on Saturday. It wasn't. That's for sure. That was tough. But I would say this. Like, I think it's laughable, and quite frankly, it underscores how, in my opinion, Goody has failed Jordan Love in the short term. Now, in the long term, if all these guys develop, it'll all be worth it. But in the short term, when competitive people like Jordan Love want to win now and have success now, and think about how we'd be talking about yesterday's game if they go win the game with either of those two final drives that ended in interceptions. But Christian Watson is a second-year player who played at a 1AA or FBS school, whatever we call it now, and he was always the tallest, fastest cat on the field, right? And so he is still developing, and him and Romeo Doubs are not veterans. They're not. They're veterans by default compared to the other guys in their room, but they're not. They're going to have growing pains too. Now, I did not think that Christian Watson's dad, comparing Watson right now to what Devontae Adams was in year two, was particularly fair or accurate. But I understand he's trying to defend his son, and I'm a dad. I get it. But the bottom line is that his son is going through growing pains that you would expect. Christian Watson didn't play at Alabama. He didn't play at Georgia. He wasn't in the SEC, essentially playing NFL football in college. And so to think that because he had that 4-game stretch where he was really good last year, that he was suddenly now had arrived. Obviously, you and I and Greg didn't think that, but there were people that I think did, and that's why they're so disappointed in what they've seen from him. And I just think from an expectation standpoint, I expected this from him. I did. Now, it's been worse than I expected. That I will agree to. But I thought that he and Doubs has had these moments too where he just sort of disappears for long stretches, that they have their up moments, and then they have their moments where you're like, man, this guy's got a ways to go still. And I think that's where Watson is. I'm certainly not writing him off at this point, but he has struggled and he has failed in some pretty critical situations. And I'll tell you this is the one thing that bothers me, and LaFleur kind of touched on it. He was very careful about it today. But LaFleur made it very clear that first interception that he throws into the end zone that Peterson deflects and the safety intercepts, that Watson is not the primary or even the secondary or probably even the third receiver on that. It's designed to go to the opposite side of the field, or it's designed to go to Luke Musgrave, who had lined up on the left side but come inside on a stick nod route. Okay? So Watson is not the intended receiver, but how many times do we hear Aaron Rodgers tell us, you have to run the route to win, whether you're the intended receiver or not, because you never know if I'm going to go to you. And if you watch how Watson ran the route, it's supposed to be an out and up, and he doesn't really do the out. It's kind of a lazy out and up, and it's more just an up. And if you run the out and up, and you run the out part, and you shake a 47-year-old Patrick Peterson, it's probably a touchdown. And that's probably what Jordan Love is expecting from you, and you didn't do it, and that's how it ends up in an interception. And, of course, unlike Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love isn't going to come out and throw his arms up in the air and curse them out on their way to the sideline going, what the hell kind of route was that? But down deep inside, I'm sure that's a thought that crossed his mind.
Real quick, and that's my question when I just said that, because now Aaron Rodgers would throw it to Devontae Adams with 3 people on him. He didn't care because he had that much confidence in him. That's my whole point right now with Jordan Love is now does he figure out no matter what route Christian Watson is running, I'm throwing it to him. Does now he move away from that because he's not winning his battles?
I wouldn't you?
Okay, sounds good.
Like he would have to prove that to me now. So yes, I would say, look, the 2 guys that I have the most faith in right now, as I said to Greg earlier, I would say Dontavion Wicks.
Yes.
And Jaden Reed. I just feel like they've got a better feel for the game. And then Romeo Doubs is third, and then at this point Christian Watson's a distant fourth. That doesn't mean he has to stay there, but that's where he is right now if I'm trying to decide who do I want to give the most targets to, who do I want to give the most snaps to, who do I want to give the most opportunities to.
Agreed.
He is off to the gym to run the 3-man weave and install a flex offense. Jason Wilde joins us every week here on the program. Jason, appreciate your time. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I'm more like Ted Lasso. I'm just out there spreading positivity and giving high fives. That's really my
There you
role.
go.
So, all right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Every good team has a good culture, right, Gary? That's Jason Wilde joining us here on the program. Plenty more to get to here, including incredible watch that Gary is wearing today. I know where you got that.
Well, at the Jury Center, 76 in Leighton Plaza in Brookfield for Blue Mountain Road, Tri-City National Bank building, a 3rd location for you folks in historic downtown Burlington, Wisconsin. ShopTJC.com is their website. ShopTJC.com is their website. You can go at their website and buy just about anything you want to buy at all 3 of their locations. Folks, just don't take my word for it. Go into their stores. Check it out yourself. Ask for the owner, my good friend Dean Murray. He'll make sure that you get the best possible deal on any piece of jewelry that he has in his store. Guys, go check my good friends out today, Dean Murray, and that is at the Jury Center.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews.
Back then, we'd spend nights in front of the boob tube. We'd take our same seats, smoke cigarettes, and watch until the station played. We all smoked in those days. If that was you then, get your lungs screened now. Surviving lung cancer starts with a scan. Learn more at screenyourlungs.org. This PSA was made possible by industry funding and guidance from lung cancer patient groups.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Ellison here from my friends at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's completing a residential or commercial project or even installing electrical vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Services. Find out what they can do for you and visit bestelect.com today.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats. Now through Wednesday, save on 6 to 8 ounce selected variety Sargento shredded cheese, 2 for $6. 2 ounce McCormick Pure Vanilla, $4.99. 12.5 to 22 ounce selected varieties Rana pasta or sauce, $5.99. 7 to 8 ounce selected varieties Green Giant Simply Steamed Vegetables, 5 for $5.
Look at those brats. You do tailgating right. Absolutely. Did you see the spread out there? You've got enough food to feed the entire lot. I'm splurging now and then hoping to win $700 in free groceries. $700? Yeah, it's all part of the 70th anniversary at Century Foods. No kidding. Next week, I'll do the shopping. Maybe I'll score $700 in groceries. All you need is the weekly code. It's on Century's Facebook or Instagram. Oh, I just remembered. I'll be out of town next week. Yeah, right, cheapskate.
Ends January 3rd.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. See Sleeper Support Center for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-522-4700 for help.
Think you know basketball? Then try to turn your basketball knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick your favorite sports and players, like basketball star Damian Lillard. With more stats than any sports app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats and ka-ching. You could win up to 100 times your money if your pick wins. With the Sleeper app, you can make picks anytime, even after the game starts. And only on Sleeper can you get up to 100 times payout. Check out Sleeper today and unlock one of the fastest growing fantasy sports apps in the world. Download right now and get up to $100 deposit match. Use promo code Milwaukee and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Just go to the App Store, download the Sleeper app today, and remember to use code Milwaukee for up to $100 match on your first deposit. That's promo code Milwaukee.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. You know, I played sports my entire life, been hurt a lot of times, but never had been injured until I had to stop doing the sports I enjoyed because my knee flat wouldn't allow it. I visited Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, where they took great care of me. I put my knee in their doctors' capable hands, and now I'm back in the gym, carrying my golf bag, pain-free for 18 holes, and playing tennis as often as I like with no issues. I'd recommend Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin to anyone. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
So what does it mean to learn to win? Is that something the Packers are doing, in the process of doing? Is it something they've figured out? You suffer a loss, it's a narrow defeat. The big question arises for a young team. They just don't know how to win yet. So I want Gary to explain what that means, to learn to win, coming up on the other side. We are here at Rockin' Brews inside Potawatomi Casino Hotel. This place is fantastic here. They've been treating us right all season long, and we're about halfway, a little beyond the halfway point of our season here. Come check us out every Monday night, most Monday nights here, following a Packers game on Sunday. Occasionally we'll be here on a Tuesday like we were last week, but our schedule's up online at ESPN Wisconsin. Check us out here. Grab some of the food, play some of the games. They've got the sports betting kiosks right outside our door. Grab a coffee, grab a great meal. They got an in-house pastry chef making everything from scratch in here. It's a fantastic place, man. They've been treating us well.
Yeah, the food's on point. I suggest now, Greg, we're moving to the Asian wings right now. So I've had the Asian wings the last 2 times that I've been here. But you've had that steak medium rare every time. And it looks pretty good. Well, not every time.
I tried to change it up and get the barbecue chicken today.
But
you
they're
got me
out.
hooked to that?
Yeah.
So good that they ran out of it on a Monday night?
Yeah, they're out.
And I noticed this about you because you go on these little waves.
Yes.
You had the barbecue chicken wave.
Yes.
And then you had the bread pudding wave.
Yes.
And now you're on the chicken wing wave.
Yes.
That's okay. Hey, that's okay.
Yes.
You're just riding the wave.
Yeah, that's what I do, Greg. That's how I eat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I've been on the salmon wave, and now I'm on the steak wave.
Yes.
And I'm certainly not discriminating against the chicken. It's fantastic.
Oh, well, and not the bread pudding either.
Bread pudding is delicious.
Yes.
Now, we're trying to say that loud enough so they bring us up a piece here during the second hour of the program. Our guy Damon's down there. Bread pudding. I just say it, it'll get into his subconscious, and all of a sudden it'll appear here on stage. Come check us out here. We're here till 8 o'clock tonight. If you're in the area, stop in Potawatomi Casino Hotel. 4th floor is where you'll find Rock and Brews. We are set up on stage with you for another hour. 4 plays that decided yesterday's game. What is learning to wean men? And, boy, was it a bad day for Aaron Jones. All that and more coming up. Hour number 2 of the program is after this.
The all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel has something you gotta see. Play more slots and games, and you could say, "Show me the money," to reveal up to 10 grand each Thursday. 800,000 in prizes is up for grabs. 40 winners each week. This October and November at Potawatomi, Milwaukee. When you're ready to win, just say, "Show me the money." More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Hey, this is Gary Ellison for my good friends at the Jewelry Center. It's the only place I go when I'm looking to get some new jewelry. Dean and his team are always friendly and know just what I'm searching for when I stop by. I may not always know what type of jewelry I want, but the professionals there sure do. Plus, if I need repairs on watches or other jewelry, the Jewelry Center does that too. Find the Jewelry Center in Burlington, Brookfield, and Greenfield, or shop their entire collection online, including their popular Lightbox lab-grown diamonds at shoptjc.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Thanksgiving is almost here. What are you bringing to the table? Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Pairing the right wine with your Thanksgiving dinner can turn your meal into a celebration. But you don't have to be an expert to find the right wine. That's what our knowledgeable staff is here for. With over 8,000 varieties of wine, Discount Liquor can help you choose between a light, fruity Pinot Grigio, a big, luscious Cabernet, or anything in between, all at the lowest prices in town. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Voted best liquor store again!
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com. And from our family to yours, have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Discount liquor.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station. The game is over.
Harvin holds it, and Boswell nails it. 23-19.
And it's the day after.
All around the goal line.
Look at him guarding the goal line, and then you better block 90 and 56.
One last chance for the Packers. Love throws, end zone, intercepted, and it's over.
Let's react to the game and look ahead.
Obviously very disappointed. I thought our guys competed and battled hard, but there are no more victories in this league.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews. Here's Greg Matzik and Gary Ellerson.
Hour number 2 of the program. Welcome back into Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Rockin' Brews. Find us on the 4th floor. Greg and Gary with you till 8 o'clock tonight. Got a Monday night matchup about to begin. Bucks basketball about to begin. They've got the sports betting kiosks up and running 24/7. Just outside the doors here of Rockin' Brews. The bread pudding is on point. And so is our football talk here on a nice fall evening. Boy, what a nice night to play. Would have been a great day to play football today.
Yeah, it would have been, Greg. So was yesterday, too.
Yesterday seemed nice also.
Yeah,
it seemed nice.
Good day to mow your lawn.
Let's go back to 2008.
Sure.
2008, Aaron Rodgers took over for Brett Favre as starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. It was not a great season record-wise. That team won 6 games. Mm-hmm. Let me walk through some of their losses. Okay, count down your hands. the number of one-score losses the Packers suffered that season. They lost to the Atlanta Falcons 27-24. They lost to the Tennessee Titans 19-16 in overtime. They lost to the Minnesota Vikings 28-27. They lost to the Carolina Panthers 35-31. They lost to the Houston Texans 24-21. They lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-16. They lost to the Chicago Bears 20-17 in overtime. How many you got?
I lost count. Is that 6 or 7?
Okay. I'll go back through it. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games. 7 one-score games, 2 that went to overtime. The Packers lost in a season. They finished 6-10. This year's version of the Green Bay Packers is also limping along record-wise. Right? They're just 3-6. 4 of their 6 losses are one-score losses, including yesterday's 4-point loss, which could have looked entirely different if Josiah DeGuara gets his head out of his ass and understands how to block on a point after. And all of a sudden the Packers need a field goal at the end of the game instead of Jordan Love trying to pull out a desperation heave to the goal line when he's under duress and that ball's intercepted. That game looks a little different if Josiah DeGuara has any freaking idea what he's doing on the point after attempt. But he doesn't, and he should be cut. We'll get to that later. They need to learn how to win, Gary. That's what I've been seeing all over Twitter. This team just doesn't know how to win yet. So tell me what that means. As a former player at the highest of levels, at a very high level in college, you've been a part of some teams that were good in some phases, not great in other phases. Tight games, learning to win. What does that mean at the NFL level?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that because it's something that I've already really alluded to. And it could be inside the game, learning how to win. Because when Brett Favre needed a play or a go-to guy that he could count on, who was it in that offense? At one point, it was Sterling Sharp. After that, who was it?
Jennings?
Yes.
Little Driver?
Driver, right? Go-to guys. Aaron Rodgers at one point, because that moved around a little bit. I think in the beginning it could have been Jennings. And then most certainly it was Jordy Nelson.
I'll walk you through that.
And then most certainly it was Devontae. Go ahead.
That 2008 season, the leading receiver, most common leading receiver was Greg Jennings, and he was unbelievable that year. James Jones, Donald Driver. Those are his primary receivers.
So, right.
That's pretty good stuff right there.
Right. And so learning to win, you asked me. Jordan Love doesn't have that yet. There's nobody like that on this roster, receiving-wise, learning to win. And that's what they're trying to figure out. Learning to win is also learning what players can help me win. And by no fault of anybody, Matt LaFleur are also trying to figure out who these guys can help us win. And as the way I see it, Greg, they have force-fed Christian Watson as that go-to guy. And it's evident by the amount of balls that he gets thrown his way. It's evident by the amount of interceptions that Jordan Love has thrown his way that have been intercepted, trying to get the ball to Christian Watson. And at some point, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are going to have to move away from Christian Watson until he's ready to get into that role and move somewhere else to that guy. And this gets to my point. I think that guy is probably now Jaden Reed. That is your guy. Learn how to win and to help me win, make plays, is that guy. That's what all learning how to win is. And I would have said early on Aaron Jones, because I think he plays an important role in that. I mean, we see him. Didn't have a good game yesterday, but for the most part, I think he's that guy. But when you're looking for that dynamic receiver that they've all had almost all the time, it's been one of those guys. They don't have one right now, and Jordan Love is trying to develop or see who that guy is to help him learn how to win when he wants to make those critical throws.
A word that comes to mind when you describe Greg Jennings, James Jones, and Donald Driver, first word is veteran.
Yeah.
The second word is trust.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers trusted those guys early on.
Love doesn't have none of that.
One of the most gifted pass catchers Aaron Rodgers had during his time playing was Jermichael Finley.
Yes.
I would also have him closer to the bottom of the list in terms of high impact potential and trust. So Jermichael had these crazy swings where sometimes he was dialed in and look out. And other times
he was the best player on the field when he was right.
I don't know where this guy's going to go.
When he was right, he was the best player on the field.
He was a nightmare to match up with. Driver, Jones, Jennings is a little different than Wicks, Reed, Dobbs, Watson, Musgrave.
Wild card could be Musgrave.
Could be.
If he stops falling down.
Well, he does have kind of that issue,
I mean,
doesn't he?
every time he catches the ball, he's always falling down.
Well, he's going to catch 55 balls this year, right? He's going to.
But once again,
impact.
That's learning, though. That's just the game is just so fast. He's just, oh my God, blah 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 blah, and he's just tripping over his feet. It'll slow down, and you'll start seeing him making some of these catches, slowing it down a little bit, and you'll see his athletic ability. I mean, you can see it a little bit right now, but you'll start seeing some plays where he'll start breaking tackles and seeing some dynamic plays for you. Right now, he's just making the plays that he's supposed to make.
So the biggest difference, if I'm understanding you correct, is that you've got a lot of talent running around the field. Some maybe just have a little more dialed-in football acumen and know how to get into space and are a little better at developing trust with the quarterback. Here's an example of that yesterday. It's the final drive. Cards are stacked against you. There's a minute left. You don't have the benefit of a timeout, and you got to flip the field, and you have to get into position to score a touchdown to win the game. The first play is a 49-yard pass play to Jaden Reed. Jordan Love is pressured in the pocket. To his credit, he stays in there. He takes a hit, and he puts the ball up in a spot. I don't know if he even knew where that ball was going to come down, but Jaden Reed sees what's going on, and I don't think that was the design of the route.
No, it wasn't.
But he pivots, makes an adjustment to run toward the sideline, plucks that thing out of the air, and gets out of bounds. He flips the field. All of a sudden, things are really interesting. If I'm a quarterback and I see 11, I probably feel like I trust that guy based upon what he did in that play alone. And I'm sure there are other examples where you can put it up. Put it up. You go get it. Watson might just keep running. He might just keep running, never make the reaction that you need. Right now, that trust level does not exist. And I think you are so spot on with how they've tried to make it happen. They tried to force that to happen because he's healthy now. He's our speed guy. He's dynamic. Just get it up there. He's 6'4". He'll outrun somebody. He'll outjump somebody. I haven't done much of that. But Reed will fight for it. Wicks will get into that soft spot. Aaron Jones will be a dynamic receiver. Dobbs will pluck that thing out of thin air.
Right.
Musgrave, if he can keep his feet, is a good playmaker. So I can see what you're saying, how you're developing that trust, but that does take time.
Right. And that's how you learn how to win, offensively. Defensively, I can't explain it to you. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. They got a lot of injuries. They're just not playing well. That's a whole different. Special teams, you talk about Josiah Deguara. Special teams can't cost you games, right? They have to be where they're helping you win games. And that didn't happen yesterday. That's learning how to win as well. No excuse for Josiah Deguara to miss. You don't really have anybody to your inside. You got the guy on the outside. That's who I got to get. Simple as that. Now, I don't know how long he's been on that field goal team, extra point team, but I think you just got to know your assignment and blew your assignment.
The guy you are in a stance staring at might want to get a hand on him.
And all you got to do is just chip him. It's not a whole heck of a
Instead,
lot.
he is as flat-footed.
He didn't even know what to do.
As flat-footed could be.
Right.
As the guy is running by him.
Didn't know what to do.
That is inexcusable and unacceptable.
And right now with Josiah DeGuara, and I would never just say I would never say cut a guy, but
I'll say it.
But
He's
right now with Josiah DeGuara, he doesn't even really fit your offense right now in what they're trying to do. They went and drafted 2 tight ends, Kraft, Musgrave, and they're making Josiah be this Swiss Army knife kind of tight end where he's in the fullback, he lines up, motion, he's doing all those types of things for you. And then if he's your third guy, he's probably got to be your best special teams player. And right now, that's just inexcusable.
One of 4 plays that I think ultimately cost the Packers a game yesterday. We'll detail the others. More comments from the locker room and head coach Pat LaFleur coming up on the other side. We continue after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Gary Ellison here from my friends at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's completing a residential or commercial project or even installing electrical vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the best, Best Electric Services. Find out what they can do for you and visit bestelect.com today.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
One of the great things about the National Football League is that you're always going to have a different conversation each and every week, because 7 days ago, what was wrong with the San Francisco 49ers? Are the Cleveland Browns ready? Are the Baltimore Ravens the best team in football? Will the Cincinnati Bengals be the best team in the AFC? 7 days later, oh my goodness, what happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars? The 49ers are back. The Cincinnati Bengals, how they lose to the Houston Texans? The Baltimore Ravens blew another lead. Are the Cleveland Browns ready to be a Super Bowl contender? But my favorite story of the weekend, C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. Last week on Freddie and Harry, I said, man, we might need to start talking about that guy, the Houston Texans rookie quarterback, being in the MVP conversation. So what does he do? He goes into Cincinnati, into that den of tigerdom when it comes to the Bengals, and he leads a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter to win that game with a Texans team that's now 5-4, and we did not think they were going to win 4 games all season long. But 7 days from now, we could be having a different conversation. In 60 seconds, we have a new America's team.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
It's one thing for Jim Harbaugh. The last time we checked, the Michigan head coach still suspended by the Big Ten for the rest of the regular season. He wasn't there on Saturday when they beat Penn State, and he's going to have a chance to talk at his hearing whether he's going to get a restraining order that will nullify the Big Ten's 3-game suspension of Jim Harbaugh for Michigan football. He said, and I quote, "I'm going to talk on Friday," end quote. He also said that Michigan football is now America's team because of the adversity and the hardships that they've gone through. Excuse me, the reason that you have hardships as a Power 5 undefeated team was because your football program had somebody engaging in espionage to get an advantage against everybody else in the Big Ten. Then again, maybe he's right. We've seen plenty of teams in America do things like this to get an advantage. Inside and outside of sports. Oh, Jim Harbaugh, keep us entertained. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I am Freddie Coleman.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
Third and 10 for the Packers. Love steps, delivers, wide open at the 30-yard line. Catch made by Wicks, and he takes it to the 15. The Packers are in business as Love finds a way for 32.
See what he did there? Ryan Eagle having the call yesterday for CBS. Packers falling short, however. 23-19, I should say, the final in Pittsburgh. 4 plays really stood out to me in yesterday's game, Gary. Greg Matzik, Gary Ellerson with you on a Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. And there's a lot of attention on the interceptions at the end of the game.
Sure.
Because, and it's true, the Packers had 2 opportunities inside 5 minutes to go down, get a score, take a lead, put the pressure on Pittsburgh to come back, including with just seconds left in the game. In fact, 3 seconds left in the game on the Packers' final play from scrimmage, a potential game-winning touchdown opportunity intercepted at the goal line, kind of a do-or-die situation. But 2 interceptions, the net result of those plays. Red zone turnovers will kill you, right?
Yes.
And Pittsburgh, for his kind of ugly and odd and strange as they have been this season, they have wins largely due in part to what they did yesterday. Other teams made mistakes, and they didn't do anything spectacular, except I would say run the football. But that's not been common in all their wins. But they strangely don't have a lot of turnovers.
No, they don't.
So other teams sort of, kick it around against them, and they just sort of outlast the other team. Because for all the struggles the Packers have had in these one-score games, Pittsburgh's won every one of them. And they are lined up with game after game after game after game, one-score games. It's like the Vikings from last year.
Yes.
Vikings won all those. Pittsburgh's winning all those.
Well, that's a typical Mike Tomlin team.
Learning how to win. Well, they've got it figured out with Mike Tomlin and this group. But 4 plays that really stood out to me. Number 1, we just talked about it, the blocked point after attempt. You get 2 big chunk plays, a 40-yard run by A.J. Dillon, 35-yard dime, dropped by Jordan Love into the hands of Jaden Reed. And here we go. Points in the first half. We're cooking. Packers answer Pittsburgh, and we're off and running. But the PAT is blocked because Josiah DeGuara has a blown assignment, doesn't know what to do. I don't know what it was, but he was flat-footed, and a guy raced by him. Here's what Matt LaFleur had to say about that play earlier today.
Yeah, we got to get our eyes on our work and make sure we punch the near shoulder of the widest rusher.
He didn't mention Josiah DeGuara by name, but he might as well have.
Really, it's just that simple. That's really, it's all a left-hand punch.
But think about that one blunder.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty major blunder. Think about what that does in the game.
Well, anytime you miss an extra point, you're chasing points for the rest of the game. So who's that hurt? The play caller. Because now he's out of whack. Because now he's got to be thinking about, how do I get this point back? So you're chasing points. And then you're making unnecessary. Then the quarterback is now making unnecessary chances that he wouldn't normally have to make to try to push the ball down the field to try to get that 1 point back. I know it doesn't seem like a big thing, but that 1 point changes the whole flow of the game.
You need a field goal to tie. Maybe send that thing to overtime, right? So maybe the Watson interception still happens. I could also argue on the back end, maybe Pittsburgh's offensive series looks a little different too.
You led the show. Was that Pro Football Reference? What would you lead the show?
Pro Football Focus.
Pro Football Focus. And I don't do Pro Football Focus, but I'm with you on that. The interception to Christian Watson, to me, he's got to be able to make a play on the ball. When I'm throwing that ball up to that guy, Greg, I'm either thinking my guy's going to come down with it or is not going to be intercepted if I can get it close enough. And to me, he got it close enough, but Christian is just not seasoned enough right now to try to figure out how to get his body back into place on those types of balls. If you watch him, he's fading away instead of going into it. He'll learn that because they'll keep watching that film over and over again. Hopefully he can see that. That's a lot like what Jordan Love, though, is going through. I talked last week about can he just overthrow a guy? He overthrew a guy. You were talking even just today about a throw that Jordan Love made in this game where against Denver he didn't dump it down to A.J. Dillon. But this time he did. So hopefully Watson can learn some of those things if they keep going to him over. So I don't really give him that interception. So I'll go with that.
Okay.
The other interception that he had at the end of the game, what are you going to do?
They have 5 Steelers lined up at the goal line.
What are you going to do?
And he got pressure.
But if you don't like Jordan Love, then you're going to look at the 2 interceptions and say he threw the game. But to me, that's how I saw those 2 interceptions.
The calculus of that game and how it was called changed with a missed point after.
Yes.
It really did, especially in the final drive.
Absolutely.
Because, again, you're talking about needing a field goal to tie. Again, maybe Pittsburgh's offensive series prior to the Packers' final drive looks a little different. Maybe they do mix in some pass because they're really trying to play keep away.
Right.
Saying that, look, we'll try and have the Packers score a touchdown.
Right.
But a field goal is a much different game. All right, so that play stood out to me. Mm-hmm. Aaron Jones had a bad day yesterday.
Yeah.
He just did. He had a bad day yesterday. It happens.
Yep.
But when you are the rock, veteran, steadying presence of an offense that is struggling to find consistency, the bad days are really magnified because Devontae Adams isn't there to pick you up. You know what I mean? Others aren't really there to pick you up.
Well, he's the guy. He's the go-to guy.
He's the guy. Right, so a pair of drops stood out to me, including one on kind of a trick play on a 3rd and 11. Could talk about trick plays. They are boom or bust, it seems. More bust with the Packers than boom. That should have been executed, right? That's a play he's got to come up with. And then, as Matt LaFleur put it ever so bluntly in his post-game press conference, on the final drive, on a 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line with 51 seconds left, little short pass to Aaron Jones, goes for no gain, but he doesn't get out of bounds. And the next time the Packers line up for a play on a 2nd and 10, there's 28 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
That's a veteran mistake at a critical time of the game.
No.
Like, he's the guy you don't have to say to, Gary, get out of bounds, because he should know.
You don't have to worry about him.
That's a killer.
Yep. Sure was. And with Aaron Jones, that's not a typical play that you see out of him. He's always very heady, smart player. I don't know what happened. Just had a huge brain issue on that one. And he didn't have one of his better games. He's been in the league now for how long? 6 years?
7?
7 years. And for a running back, that's tough. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of hits. It's a lot of carries. A lot of reception yards. And, at some point he's going to start slowing down a little bit. And you never know when that's going to happen as a running back. All of a sudden, it's just not there anymore. I'm not saying this is it because I would have to see a little bit more of him. But most certainly had a game that's not a game that you usually see that Aaron Jones has. The mistakes, the drop passes, not get. He normally is probably the guy that you can depend on the most. 4th and 6, who do they dial a play up for? Aaron Jones gets the first down. That's what you're used to seeing out of him. Just yesterday wasn't his day.
It was not, unfortunately. And it was a rough finish to the game for the Packers, to be sure, but a collection of plays throughout the game really helped contribute to that final score, 23-19. One play I did not even bring up was the lateral play. I mean, I just feel like I need to say the lateral play, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This happened at a different time of the game. This was a first half of the game sort of deal in which Kenny Pickett dropped back for a pass out of the shotgun, threw a ball that went behind Kenny, didn't go by much, maybe a yard or so, but nonetheless, it was backwards. And the play was ultimately blown up by the Packers. Ball's lying on the ground. Whistle blew the play dead. Rashawn Gary picked it up, ran into the end zone. I think he probably stepped out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Nevertheless, challenged not overturned. Packers lose a timeout. Here's what Matt LaFleur had to say about that play following the game.
I thought it was pretty clear to me, but somebody else felt differently, so I guess that's the way it is. I guess I was wrong.
Packers could have taken a lead
That's
there.
all I got to say about that.
Who knows, right? I mean, they're not going to get a touchdown out of that. I think the real crime there was
a field goal at least.
The real crime there, to me, Gary, is the initial whistle. Okay, so with the replay rules, what they are, officials are sometimes trained to call that play that's in the corner of the end zone call it a touchdown, we're going to review it.
Right.
We're going to review it anyway, right? Right. So sometimes they will err on the side of letting a play go for a minute. Just let it play out because we'll take a look at it. We'll get the right call. We'll get the clock figured out. We'll get the yard line figured out. We'll get it all square. But if you blow a play dead prematurely, you aren't afforded those same opportunities. And for some reason, still, the replay committee decided that pass did not go backwards. I don't really know how they've arrived at that decision. That still baffles me. I've seen it 1,000 different ways with different angles and lines and all this kind of stuff and different diagnosis. That was a backwards pass.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And to me, that changed the whole complexity of the game. But, Greg, there's a lot of plays in games that are for you or against you. Obviously, that was a big one. When you blow the whistle, they should have let that go longer, but they didn't. And to me, even when you go back and look at it again, because I thought for sure we were going to get the ball, they still stuck with what was called on the field. It's just one of those things where you just shake your head and what can go wrong will go wrong for the Packers this year.
You know, and I brought up the other plays intentionally, Gary, because this was a play sort of out of the Packers' control.
Yeah.
The drops, the trick play that went wrong, the PAT gaffe by Josiah DeGuara. Right, those were in the Packers' control. Aaron Jones not getting out of bounds. Yeah. They controlled the energy, the effort, the intelligence of that play. Mm-hmm. They did not control it on a play that, in my opinion, was misdiagnosed by officials.
Agreed. Totally.
That's why I bring it up the way that I did. Players of the game, not so hot players of the game. Pro Football Focus has a thought on the matter. I've got it for you coming up on the other side. Also, our best electrifying play of the second half. We'll have it for you after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here. Are you thinking about remodeling your bath or shower? Well, now's the perfect time to save on design and remodeling with Kohler Services, a family-owned business for 150 years. Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer, offering fast, professional installation and care for life. For 2 weeks only, Kohler Services is offering $1,500 off your shower or bath remodel from now until November 15th. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Are you looking for a way to make an impact this holiday season? Make a splash by donating to the Life Navigator Soap and Suds Drive. It's simple. Your donation of body wash, hand sanitizer, lotion, or laundry pods will help local kids and adults with disabilities stay safe, happy, and healthy all year long. Please consider donating this holiday season to the Life Navigator Soap and Suds Drive. Learn more on how you can donate this holiday season at lifenavigators.org. Life Navigators is your disability partner. Learn more at lifenavigators.org.
Santa's back. Back again. Santa's back.
That's not a Christmas song, Dad.
That's true, Sid, but I'm celebrating our ESPN Wisconsin Racine Danish Kringle's Jingle for Your Kringle contest on Wilde and Tausch, where you could win Kringle for a year. It's back for another year.
Can I enter?
Sure, anyone can. All you have to do is submit your own original jingle to celebrate the holidays and Racine Danish Kringle to ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Then we'll pick the most creative songs, and our grand prize winner will get Kringle for a year. There's only one requirement. Make sure you include Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition in your jingle. Or if you don't want to sing, but you still want to celebrate the holidays with the Racine Danish Kringle, call 800-4DANISH or visit Kringle.com and order their all-new Holiday Stick Sampler.
Sweet dreams of holiday Kringle, Mary Berry and apple, and lots of icing too.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm working on my jingle. Kringle, I love you.
Homer here. There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. And Robert Heck Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds. Guys, these are diamonds. They're just grown in a laboratory, which speeds up the process. At Robert Heck Diamonds, you can get a 1-carat diamond for under $600. And 2-carat diamonds, many of which go for under $1,000. Manufacturer prices are dropping fast. And Robert Hack Diamonds wants to help you save money while also giving you a great product. Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. Stop in today. Robert Hack in Greenfield on Layton Avenue or Brookfield on Greenfield Avenue. And shop their whole lab-grown diamond and jewelry selection at roberthackdiamonds.com. Remember, great product, great price. roberthackdiamonds.com.
Shop Black Friday every day and get the best new deals all month long, only at Lowe's. Right now, shop the lowest prices of the year on select major appliances and save an extra $100 for every $800 you spend on select major appliances. And get up to 45% off select tools and accessories, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid through 11/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
And you know where I live.
Love keeps it downfield, and it's caught by Reed. Forced out of bounds. That was a wobbler as Love was trying to maintain his footing and balance. 46 yards on the throw from Love.
84 yards receiving for Jaden Reed on the day. The rookie out of Michigan State having himself a day, a first-half touchdown. And that second-half field-flipping play, it's our best electrifying play of the second half. Jordan Love to Jaden Reed on a 1st and 10 from the 19 with 59 seconds left to go in the game. So, I mean, that's a critical play at a critical time. It flips the field, Gary. It gets the Packers at least in position to make things interesting and get a game winner. And the trust, I think, that is being developed between Reed and Love, it stands out on a throw and a catch like that, with Reed seeing what's going on and just sort of abandoning what he's supposed to do to make a play.
Yeah, I know my guy's going to get it no matter what. Learning how to win, the trust that you now have with some of your receivers that they're going to go get the ball no matter what. And I think those things are developing within this offense with Jordan Love and with his receivers. And you're right. Now all of a sudden that makes the play interesting. Now you got an opportunity. If I want to get the ball to the end zone, my quarterback can get it. I thought maybe, why didn't we go a Hail Mary? We ran a route, I get it, but why not a Hail Mary on that pass instead of the interception at the end?
On the final play?
On the final play. Why not go your traditional Hail Mary?
Well, they weren't that far away.
I understand.
They're at the 16-yard line.
Right.
And everybody ran verticals, and I think a couple broke off at the goal line.
Right. So why wouldn't you run your traditional Hail Mary? You saying that's too close to do that?
Not enough field to work with?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
I would have thrown that.
Is there a certain amount of field you want to work with?
To me, I don't think so.
Mary,
You just throw it up. I think what they try to do is run a route, which is fine, but everybody was lined up on the goal line. You saw they had the umbrella there, and everybody was in that zone. There was no way you were going to get anything there.
They ran five verticals.
They ran, and then they ran the in.
And two came in, I think.
Or did they go out? One of them. So one of them ran in or out or something like that. They was trying to run like a little rut route, but they just sat in their zones. They didn't move. Had you did a Hail Mary, you would have got more of a bunch formation. Most likely, you'd have got the ball batted around a little bit more instead of trying to hit a direct route.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I think you'd have had a better opportunity to get a play made on the ball. The play that they ran a specific play in a zone that a zone was not vacated.
And he knew the Steelers were coming. So that ball's got to get out of your hands.
Correct.
Too. There's no time to set up shop.
Right. So, and really, if you look at it, he didn't step into the throw all that well when he threw that ball. I don't know. I'd have maybe thrown the ball up on that one, do some sort of Hail Mary in that type of situation.
So that Christian Watson can go – oh, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4". I mean, he may have an opportunity, if not anything, bat it to Jaden Reed because he could be your tip guy.
So Jaden Reed was the second highest graded Packers offensive player yesterday, according to Pro Football Focus.
Well, let me guess who the highest was because we haven't really talked about this yet.
So top 5, if you want to think about how Pro Football Focus does their grading, and it's complex and confusing. It's like figuring out the quarterback rating. Based upon your eyes, top 5 offensive players.
Well, the number 1 to me was Zach Tom. He had the best game of his life yesterday. He was absolutely. We haven't talked about this offensive line at all today, and I thought they played their best game Sunday. John Runyon Jr. had one play that he got crushed on when he was pulling. But other than that, I thought as a unit, they showed a lot of toughness. I thought, I don't know about you, Greg, I thought coming into this game, T.J. Watt was going to get at least 3 sacks. I thought he'd be all over the place. I thought Walker played okay on his side, but Highsmith is really good. He pressured a lot. I thought he did okay. But I thought Zach Tom, to me, on that offensive line, he should have graded out the highest. He was absolutely incredible with T.J. Watt. Now, they helped him. They chipped sometimes. But for the most part, Zach Tom had him by himself.
Zach Tom is credited with allowing a sack to T.J. Watt. Many in this league are. But overall, I agree with you. Just based upon what his task was and who he was tasked with slowing down.
Yes.
Zach Tom was outstanding yesterday. He did not grade in the top 5, according to Pro Football Focus.
What?
He did allow a sack. Perhaps that weighs against him a little bit. The number 1 rated offensive player, according to Pro Football Focus, yesterday, on a grading scale of 1 to 100, was Elton Jenkins. He finishes with a grade of 81.1, which falls into the category of high quality. They put tiers associated with your number grade. Jaden Reed, number 2 on that list, high quality, 79.1. Jordan Love, number 3 on the list, 77.8. Josh Myers, number 4 on the list, the Packers' much maligned center, 76.6. Those are your 4 high-quality players on offense, according to Pro Football Focus. Number 5, rating above average, Luke Musgrave at 72.7.
Yeah.
I think each one of those players you may have been able to pick out. Myers maybe gets lost in the shuffle on that offensive line a little bit as a center.
Yeah.
But Zach Tom certainly passed an eye test today. If you weren't sure who Zach Tom was, and T.J. Watt did some chasing around and made some plays, I get that. But Zach Tom more than upheld his end of the bargain yesterday.
If you're looking to give out a bouquet of flowers, that's who I give it to for this game.
Yeah.
He played very well. I mean, I just thought as a whole the offensive line played well. And maybe they're starting to settle into their role a little bit, Greg. Now they know that Bakhtiari is gone. Elton Jenkins is back. You've got Myers, John Ryan Jr. over there. You've got Zach Tom. And maybe Josh Nijmans is your swing guy once he gets healthy. But I feel like right now they've got 6 offensive linemen that they can count on, that they just know their role.
Top 5 on defense. It was not a great day for the Packers defense, the rush defense specifically. Big play potential. Well, it's not terribly high when you got a quarterback completing 13 passes, right? There's just not a lot of dropbacks for Kenny Pickett yesterday. But if you were to, based upon your eye test, pick out some or all of the top 5 defenders for the Packers yesterday, who might be on that list for you?
I thought Valentine played well yesterday. Valentine played well yesterday. It'd be hard pressed for me to. I didn't see a lot of Rashad Gary yesterday.
So it's tricky.
He was relatively quiet. Preston Smith was relatively quiet. I mean, I didn't see any big plays that they made in this game.
You named 3 of the top 5.
Yeah.
Rashawn Gary rates as the highest graded Packer yesterday on defense at 81.6, high quality. Others, above average. Kenny Clark, 75.1. Preston Smith, 73. Corey Ballantyne, 71 for the rookie. And Isaiah McDuffie, who I think has quietly put together a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Considering he was a special teamer coming into this season primarily, and then a backup linebacker to Devondre Campbell. But even with Campbell back, he's getting some run. Quay Walker out, of course. We understand that. But I get the feeling Isaiah McDuffie's, they're going to find room for him.
Right.
Throughout the rest of this season, even if Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell are healthy. He rates it above average at 68.8. So, but I would agree with you, Gary. There were no plays yesterday on defense
that just stood out
that were just like significant impact plays. You, maybe on that lateral you would have had something in a turnover. Yeah, maybe even they rule it a touchdown. I doubt it, but nonetheless, those are game-changing kinds of plays. The Packers don't have many of those this season as a whole. And when you talk about giving up 205 yards, you're fine. I mean, Rashawn Gary may have won his matchup more often than not. And Corey Ballantyne may not have been tested all that often because the Steelers were racking up over 200 yards on the ground.
Right.
So I feel like it's a little skewed on defense here because nothing really jumps off the page to me either.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there was no real big plays that were made that just shocks you and jump you off that comes out at you with this defense. And they played about what we think a ho-hum kind of a game. I mean, they just got to figure out how to make tackles across the line of scrimmage. And they just really haven't been able to do that. I mean, if you look at Pittsburgh, you knew what was coming in. You knew what was happening. And they took it right to us. And there was little or no resistance. Our gap control defense is not very good. What I mean by that, Greg, of course, you know, you have the center on both sides of the center. You have an A gap, both A's, then B, C gap. Our gap responsibilities are not very good. I mean, they're just gashing us, and nobody is staying sound within their gap. They've got to do a much better job of staying home and in their gaps. That's not happening.
Sometimes, Gary, the middle linebackers got to step up and sugar the A gap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to sugar
the A gap a little bit.
Because, you know, Rick Sino would have done that.
You got to.
Yeah, Rick Sino would have sugared the A gap for sure.
If you're not doing that, I mean, what are you doing in this league?
No, not at all.
Why I have patience for Christian Watson.
Okay.
I'll explain after this.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution and best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. Why do so many people live years with back tax problems? You didn't file one year because you were sick or thought you couldn't pay. Then next year you didn't file again. Soon you think you can't file. You do things that don't make sense or may be illegal. Don't bury your head in the sand and hope the problem will go away. It will only get worse unless you make the right choice and step up to get them off your back. Do you want your paycheck garnished, a lien on your house, your passport revoked, or your bank account wiped out? We help reduce or eliminate penalties, negotiate payment plans, and file back tax returns. My latest book has advice on what to do to avoid trouble with the IRS. Make the right choice. Go to rightchoicetax.us to book a call or in-person meeting right now. We know you want to take the first step in getting the IRS off your back so you can live again. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Is your next charity fundraising event looking for sports memorabilia merchandise? For over 20 years, Jeff Sports has been partnering with charities and providing them with the greatest sports memorabilia. Their program is simple and has a 100% no-risk guarantee. Let Jeff Sports help you raise more money for your next event. For more information, stop into Jeff Sports in Brookfield or check them out at their website at jeffsports.com. That's jeffsports.com.
Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. See Sleeper Support Center for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-522-4700 for help.
Think you know basketball?
And try to turn your basketball knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick your favorite sports and players, like basketball star Damian Lillard. With more stats than any sports app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats and ka-ching! You could win up to 100 times your money if your pick wins. With the Sleeper app, you can make picks anytime, even after the game starts. And only on Sleeper can you get up to 100 times payout. Check out Sleeper today and unlock one of the fastest growing fantasy sports apps in the world. Download right now and get up to $100 deposit match. Use promo code Milwaukee and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Just go to the App Store, download the Sleeper app today, and remember to use code Milwaukee for up to $100 match on your first deposit. That's promo code Milwaukee.
The Saganiac Planning fantastic finish, January 10th, 1981. Marquette against number 5 Notre Dame, tied at 52, 1 second left. Marquette inbounded in the backcourt in front of the Notre Dame bench. The play was to screen to get someone open near the Marquette basket and throw a long pass, but no one was open. Michael Wilson had no choice but to look in the backcourt. 1 second left. He got it to Doc Rivers, just past half court. Rivers caught the Wilson chest pass, and in one motion off 1 foot, with a one-handed push shot from 30, banked it in. Oh, baby, final. Marquette 54, Notre Dame 52. For over 40 years, the folks at Network Health have been trusted experts in health insurance. Honest, hardworking, just like you, Wisconsin. Whether you need coverage for yourself, your family, or your employees, they've got you covered with individual family marketplace plans, employer plans, and Medicare plans. At Network Health, they do what's right because it's who they are. Call Aaron Belowski, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from Rockin' Brews on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, a lot of missed tackles. We knew they were going to try to run the football, and they did it better than we did. They went out there and executed better than we did. We had a lot of calls designed to stop the run, and they were still gashing us. So it certainly wasn't good enough. Anytime, I want to say, what was it, 5.5 yards a carry, or roughly. You can't give up almost 200 yards rushing in this league and expect to win football games.
Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, I should say, as we wrap up the program here from Rockin' Brews, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Greg Matzik, Gary Ellerson with you. Everyone's frustrated with Christian Watson, including, I presume, Christian Watson.
Yeah, he has to be.
Because it's not coming together for the team this year.
He's in an amount of pressure, a lot of pressure. It feels like it. It feels like when I watch him play, I feel like he is playing like there's just so much pressure on him.
Patience is running thin for a guy who took over at a point last year and sort of helped keep the Packers in it. Made things interesting. All of a sudden, there were a couple dynamic play threats on the offense, and it wasn't just Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers, who, by all accounts, had a down year, but Watson emerged. To the point where I had thought early in the season he was the most indispensable player on offense, not named Jordan Love. So here's Watson struggling to find any level of trust, consistency. It's just not coming together so far this season. The reason I have patience in the whole situation is I remember what happened to Davante Adams in his second year. And his first year, he had about a 3-game stretch, and there were blips on the radar here against New England. Boy, that was a matchup problem for Bill Belichick's defense. The Packers won that game. Against Dallas in the postseason, Davante was the star of the show, along with Aaron Rodgers on offense. He showed you what he could do. Watson showed what his ceiling is last year in that 8-game stretch. He's the guy coming back in this season. Adams, after the injury to Jordy Nelson, we got to elevate, right? Now it's your turn to be the co-one with Randall Cobb. And what happened? Davante Adams had more drops than anybody in the NFL. He caught 50 balls for 483 yards, targeted 94 times. That's a pretty low catch rate. And he had 1 touchdown. And everybody wanted his butt out. Well, this ain't going to be the guy. And what did he do after that? He started his Hall of Fame trajectory as a player. So I'm willing to have patience. It's a different side of the ball, but Rashawn Gary, people thought he would be a bust. And he's turned into a beast. From bust to beast. It's hard to have patience, but this is why I have patience.
I think for Christian Watson, it feels different, though, than Devontae Adams. It feels like he's playing with the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he's got to get back to having fun. And no matter where you play it at, a football is a football, catch it. It's all the same. And I think he's lost some of that. And I think for me, if I was talking to him, if he was my son, don't read newspapers. They'll probably do that no more. But don't read the socials. Stay off all that stuff, and let's just concentrate on you and making you a better player than what you are. You can see it, Greg, all over his face. The one pass he almost caught or should have caught that was thrown right at his hands, a little curl route right in the middle. Just hit him right, he just fumbled it. And you can just see, I see it through his helmet, like it's just everything. And I don't know if there's pressures from the family or most certainly these people on the outside. You can't let outside noise get in your head. You got to keep it moving and just understand why you're there, why you're in the NFL. You're good enough to be there. And I think that's what he needs to do. James Jones had the same situation too, though. He dropped a bunch of balls. Do you remember how many footballs Jordy Nelson dropped in the Super Bowl? When they played Pittsburgh, and was that in Dallas? Dropped a bunch of balls there. So that has happened to a lot of Packer receivers. I'm with you. Hopefully he can get through this, and it's a learning process that it doesn't get to be too much. But it's also going to be about the people that you surround yourself with to insulate you from all the crap.
We will pick up this evolving storyline next week. Gary and I will be back on a Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from Rock and Brews. Come join us. Hang out with us from 6 to 8. Try the bread pudding.
Time to go already?
It is time to go already. Man, time flies when you're having a nice time.
Wow.
Isn't that right? Get your bread, and you'll be taking that home. We will be back, hopefully talking about a Packers win over the Chargers. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Enjoy the Bucs game. Whatever you're settling into here on a Monday night, Gary and I are back again next week.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines.